Live from the studio at the Northwest Florida School of Biblical Studies, this is Have a Bible Question, where you are part of the program. Now, let's go to the Bible for answers to your Bible questions.
Hey, I got a question. I'll give you one guess what it's about.
A question about Revelation.
See, don't you know that's the best transition we've done yet?
I
with
love
our
it.
sound effect.
Love
We're
it,
getting
love it.
better. The question comes from Revelation 22, verse 18 through 19. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. What are the plagues this is talking about, Troy?
All right. So if you go back to, let's see here. I want to say chapter 6. Let me double check here. Those are the seals. The trumpets are, I should know this.
Oh, I know you do. In fact, if
coming.
somebody wants to learn the book of Revelation, I encourage you. We're going to be opening up registration here soon at the Northwest Florida School of Biblical Studies for our summer semester, 12 weeks that you can take a course with Troy Spradlin on the book of Revelation.
Beginning in chapter 15, the 7 bowls of wrath. And what happens in these bowls of wrath, you see all kinds of things happen, like darkness, and you see boils, and you see different things that come upon them that are like the plagues that you see from the plagues of Exodus. Mm-hmm. They parallel that to some degree. And so that's what he's referring to, these terrible things that are mentioned in chapter 15 and 16. So I'd encourage you to go read that so you can see more what he's talking about. But what I was more concerned about in that verse was then it says, and he'll take away, he shall take away his part from the book of life. Well, that's in chapter 20. And there it says where the dead, the small and the great were standing before the throne, and the books were opened, and it talks about that we will be judged. Chapter 20, verse 12, we will be judged according to their works by the things which are written in the books. Jesus also talks about how our names can be blotted out of that book. And so that's what it's talking about. So talking about plagues from chapter 15 and 16, there's other plagues in here as well, but those are the specific ones it's talking about, with a reference going back to Exodus and talking about the book of life that it talks about in chapter 20.
That's a very good answer. That's why you teach our Revelation class.
But I'm always so long-winded. I can't ever figure out how to be more concise in those answers sometimes. But.
Yeah, just in comparison to me. Ray, I know you got a good laugh out of that one.
Yep.
See that conciseness? He's got it down.
Yep. All right, Revelation chapter 3, verse 5. He who overcomes the world shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his heavens. If you really want to, that's a great question, by the way, but the important thing of that passage is that, having your name written in the book of life. That's what you want. Be more concerned about that than about the plagues, because if your name is written in the book of life, you don't have to worry about the plagues. Let me add one more thing while we're on that passage. This is the third time that God has said, don't you add to or take away from my holy writ. He says it in Deuteronomy chapter 4, don't add to or take away what is written here. And in Proverbs chapter 30, he says, don't add to what is written here. And then again at the end of the book in Revelation, don't add to or take away. God says it 3 times at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Don't change his word.
There you go.
Very important.
Very, very, very good.